Come talk to me, Miriam, at Diamond Leaf Jewelers in the Iowa River Landing, and let's create an heirloom together. Open 7 days a week.
We're back with Andrew from Carousel Pre-Owned in Iowa City, and it's back to school. Looking at some good cars for that, including a 2014 Ford Fusion Titanium.
This one here is the top of the line for the Ford Fusions. It's super loaded, 83,000 miles, Bluetooth, USB hookups, remote start, all-wheel drive, everything you want in a car.
Cool. You can check it out at Carousel Pre-Owned on Stevens Drive in Iowa City.
Hi, I'm Leah Cohen, inviting you to join us at Bo James in downtown Iowa City. Our grill is fired up and ready to serve all the great Hawkeye fans. Whether it's a big-ass beer or a burger basket, Bo James is open, morning, noon, and night, with a full-service menu. You'll love the burgers. Great food, great staff. Come see us. Bo James, downtown Iowa City.
From the Hertine and Stalker Studios, in the heart of the Hawkeye Nation, this is the mighty 1630 KCJJ, Iowa City.
Here is your KCJJ forecast today. Sunshine, 78 this afternoon. The wind out of the northwest at about 5 to 15 today. Clear tonight, 56 tomorrow. More sunshine, high of 78. And then we do have a chance of showers and thunderstorms tomorrow night into Friday. There could be a half inch to an inch or more of rain. And then into the weekend, more sunshine with highs in the upper 80s on both Saturday and Sunday. I'm meteorologist Sean Cable on the mighty 1630 KCJJ. The temperature right now, 59.
Weather brought to you by the Westport Touchless Auto Washes at Walmart in Iowa City and Coralville's High V. AllHawkeyes.com brought to you by Big Dog TV and Internet, serving all of eastern Iowa with Dish, DirecTV, Internet, and more. Don't call an 800 number. Call Kevin and his crew. Call Big Dog. Call local. 338-6600. Brought to you by Zephyr's Printing and Design and Imprinted Ink on the Pedmal. The Ox Yoke Inn. Suple's Flowers, the home of 1-800-800-ROSE. Sittler's LED Supplies. GT Car and his crew at Supple Siding and Remodeling. Mike's Lock and E-Keys for cars. Steve Anderson, Hawkeye Title and Settlement. And Premier Automotive in North Liberty. Hit a deer. Call Premier. From allhawkeyes.com. What's he doing? Is he sexting?
No.
Are you sexting?
Yep, to myself.
Wow. Like Lang?
Is that what he does?
No.
No, I'm responding to my niece. Just a second.
Okay.
His well-wishers.
Ah, yeah, it's his birthday today.
Yeah.
Yeah, sing him happy birthday, Jim. Take it away.
That would require us to lose the stream.
Oh, that's right. No, I think it's public domain now.
I'm not sure.
Hello.
Good morning.
Good morning.
First, I guess I'm supposed to wish you a happy birthday, Pat.
Oh, is that the way the... Okay, thank you. I appreciate it.
I want to talk about something that probably hadn't gotten a lot of discussion, from Hawk fans today, and that's the basketball schedule.
Uh-huh.
It just seemed a little odd to me that the Hawks have 3 Friday night home games for Big Ten play.
I know. I saw that too. I mean, and then that stood out to me, and the fact that 3 of their last 4 conference games are on the road, and they're not easy.
If I remember correctly, last year Penn State was a staple on Friday night.
Yeah, you're asking. I'm not good at that type of stuff. I don't remember. I don't remember many Friday games. I mean, the game that I always used to remember being on Friday night with Iowa was the Iowa State game, and then they've since moved that to Thursday because I don't think they like to have Friday night games because that's high school basketball.
Right.
I mean, what do you think, caller?
Oh, I think you're right there. I think clearly this is a function of the new Big Ten TV network, but I also think it's probably a reflection of how the Big Ten office views Iowa's prospects this year, that they're sticking them at home on Friday nights a lot.
I guess I hadn't thought about that. Possibly. I mean, and in fairness, I don't want to sound too critical, but when you're coming off a 4-14 season, That's kind of what you have to deal with. So the best way to remedy that is to win. And, yeah, I mean, I'm just not used to Big Ten games on Friday night. It's just not – it's just weird. But we're in an age now where there's no day that's off limits for scheduling basketball now.
No, because it used to be what? Tuesday and Saturday?
Thursdays and Saturdays.
Thursdays and Saturdays.
But
right.
now when you're playing 20 conference games, you've only got so many open. You have to use the days in the week, especially when you want, like the caller said, TV has a lot to do with this. So I think they're saying, well, okay, where are we going to put this Iowa game here? With let's just go Friday night. I mean, that could be. I hadn't really thought about that, but there probably is some truth to that.
The other thing that I noticed about the schedule, you mentioned the back end. I looked at the first 4 games.
I got it right in front of me right here. You talking about the first 4 Big Ten games?
Yeah, first 4 Big Ten games.
Remember, they're broke up now. You've got Wisconsin and Michigan. Yes. What about playing a Big Ten men's basketball game in November? Did you ever think you'd see that?
No.
Isn't that just bizarre? I mean, a week after, just a few days after Black Friday, they're playing Wisconsin in a Big Ten opener. Then that Monday, just 2 days later, they're at Michigan State. Then they play Iowa State, Northern Iowa. Then they've got the typical Carver Hawkeye specials, Western Carolina, Savannah State, and Bryant. And then they're at Purdue and at home against Nebraska.
To me, that's a tough start of the Big Ten.
Oh, I completely agree. And I guess you're saying, too, that you worry about that sucking the life out of the team and setting them on a bad course, whereas the games at the end, which are tough, too, by then, who knows. But you're right, though. That's not – I hadn't really looked at it that close. But then you throw that Iowa State and Northern Iowa game in there during that stretch. It's going to be interesting to see. They have to avoid – I mean, what do you say? They can't be worse than 2-2, do you think, if they want to do anything special this season?
Oh, I would say easily that.
Yeah.
But the concern would be we have another start like we did last year. I mean, everybody thought it was going to be, easy start, 2-0 right out of the gate, and that didn't happen.
No, let's see. It was Penn State.
Snowballed.
No, you're right. I mean, that loss to Penn State at home was huge. I mean, because I don't think anyone thought they were going to lose that game, including myself. Even though it was close, I just kept thinking they were going to figure out a way to win it. They didn't, and that was obviously kind of set the tone for the rest of the season. But, yes, this schedule, what's unfortunate about the schedule, and I just want to get your thoughts, and I know we've harped on this, beating a dead horse, but the home schedule, you've got UM Kansas City, Green Bay, Alabama State, Pitt, Western Carolina, Savannah State, and Bryant. I mean, what do you think of all those games?
Well, I can tell you, living in Des Moines, I wouldn't buy season tickets having to go over and watch most of that. Pitt, it's a big ACC school, so you're thinking they can't be as bad as they were last year.
Yeah, they didn't win a game I don't believe they won a conference game last year.
Yeah.
No, they got new life in there. Jeff Capel's the new head coach there. So, yeah, Pitt is what it is. It's not Iowa's fault that they're matched. Well, I guess it is for finishing so poorly last year. It's the Western Carolina, the Bryants, and the Savannah States. I understand you got to play a few. It just seems like every year there's 5 to 6 of those, and I'm just getting tired of them.
I remember when Dr. Tom was coaching, people would always complain that we never played anybody in the preseason, but I don't know if I remember a schedule like this.
I don't remember it being quite this bad, but if I was going to list criticisms of Dr. Tom, and I'm a huge Dr. Tom fan, there were times where I thought the non-conference schedule could have been more difficult, but we're looking at it from two different perceptions. We're looking at it from an entertainment and an interest point of view. I was looking at it as a way of building for a good season. I get it. I understand where they're coming from, and they also will say it's hard to schedule a lot of these other schools because they want to do home and aways and this and that and money and whatever, but man, it just – I don't know. I mean, this is Savannah State this is at least the second or third time in the last – they played them last year, I believe. So, I don't know. To me, at times, it feels like there's too many of those games. And the people that really suffer from that are the ticket holders. And like you said, do you use the non-conference schedule as a reason not to buy season tickets from living in Des Moines?
It's part of it.
Okay. It's now. How about like the weird schedule of games where, sometimes you could play it Sunday at 6:30, Friday. Does that have anything to do with it too?
Oh, I think that those Sunday 6:30 games are just ridiculous.
They're the worst. I'd rather do a Friday than a Sunday at 6:30. Yeah, no, I think they're the worst. Yeah, they're the worst. So yeah, to be a ticket holder now, you really have to set aside your schedule if you want to consistently see these teams play, because in the old days you could always mark off Thursdays and Saturdays.
Right.
Now you got to almost mark off any day just in case. It's tough. And that's out of Iowa's control.
I mean, it wasn't just about ticket holders. I mean, that was must-see TV.
Oh, I agree. No,
you knew what you were doing on those days. So
7:00 on Thursday, and anywhere from 1 to 7 on Saturday. Isn't that kind of how it worked?
Correct.
Yep. Hey, I'm curious. Before we what do you think? What's your expectation for Iowa this season, and what do you think they need to do to say, okay, yep, we're really moving back in the right direction? I'm just curious.
I'm not as optimistic as some people, because everybody says they've another year of maturity, but man, they on defense they were just so bad last year.
Mm-hmm.
I'd have to see defensive improvement and significant defensive improvement before I felt confident of a solid year.
And when you say a solid year, are you talking NIT or NCAA? I mean, what's
I
tough?
think NCAA is a solid year.
Yes, I do too, and I think that's the standard that Fran set. But it seems so far away right now to where to even talk about it seems a little silly. But that is the standard. He went 3 years in a row, so I don't know. I think this year's going to be fascinating for a lot of reasons. I think we're going to learn so much about Fran, Iowa. This year is going to really, I think, say a lot about where this program is going over the next couple of years.
Yeah, one quick thing on football I wanted to check with you, because I assume, were you at practice yesterday?
Well, we were there, but we weren't in
Right.
practice. We waited in the facility for them to come. But what's up?
Well, Monday night when the Big Ten Network was there, one of the things they mentioned as a concern was cornerback depth.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Which is not something I thought would be an issue. And then we seem to have quite a few numbers. And then I saw somebody tweeted the list of people who were not practicing, and I'm like, how many corners do we actually have out there right now? It seems like, you've got Ojemudia is set out, so it's...
Well, the 4 cornerbacks right now are Matt Hankins, Michael Ojemudia, and then 2 true freshmen, Julius Brents and Josh Turner. I mean, that's a compliment to Julius Brents and Josh Turner, but it also kind of tells you that there is a little bit of a depth issue and experience issue at cornerback. I mean, there just is. Now, Jerry DiNardo was funny. Jerry DiNardo pointed that out, and some Iowa fans were like, even some media, he bases this observation just by watching one practice. But then all the positive things he says about after watching one practice, nobody questions that. That's fine. It's just kind of funny. But no, right. I'm not ready to judge what the cornerbacks are going to do. I think Matt Hankins and Michael Ojemudia, they look the part. They've played. Each has played enough to where Matt Hankins was pretty good by the end of last year. But when you have 2 true freshmen in your top 4, there is some uncertainty.
Yes, that is true. But if there's one position on the football team where we know we can expect a pretty solid level of performance, I would say it is the defensive backfield.
I would agree. Phil Parker has been incredible producing quality D-backs, and granted, it was only one practice, but I really liked what I saw from this Julius Brents. I mean, he looks like he's 6'2". He looks like he could gain another 20 pounds, and he would still look skinny and long and lanky. I liked his physicality. And one practice, I know that, but at worst, I think he's going to be a nickel-down guy who comes in and uses his length to help them. And so we'll see. I'm not as worried about cornerback as I am linebacker. And the fact is, I mean, the cornerbacks have played. These linebackers, none of these linebackers have played a meaningful down at scrimmage. They've done special teams and but none of them have been in there during the thick of battle because Iowa never substituted at linebacker last year.
Yeah, that is a concern because the track record of previous times we've gone through this switch has not been great.
No, now it helps that they have a great defensive end cast, and I think they got enough depth at defensive tackle to kind of offset that. So we'll see. Like I wrote a while back, the thing that's so interesting with this Iowa team, and everything's magnified, is for every good thing you can find about this Iowa team, you can find a concern to match it. And it seems like everything's in extreme, like good, maybe the best tight ends they've ever had. Linebackers, absolutely no experience. Kicker, they got a guy coming back who made 11 of 13 field goals. I know they didn't claim him to be the starter yesterday, but I think that's to motivate the other guys. Punter, they have a guy who averaged 37 yards and the other guy who's got no experience. There's just a lot of pros and cons with this Iowa team.
It'll be an interesting year, that's for sure.
It will be. No, like I said, I got them going 8-4, and if they go 8-4 and win a bowl game, people will be okay. If they go 8-4 and lose a bowl game, it won't be a pleasant time around here. I don't think. I don't think it'll be pitchforks and torch the earth. It'll just be a lot of, oh my God, I'm getting so sick of this. We'll get that.
And the person who probably will hope the most that doesn't happen is Fran.
Yeah, good point. I hadn't thought about that. You're right. You're right about that. That's a good point. Because they do kind of feed off each other. So we'll see.
Yep. All right. Well, I hope you guys get a nice welcome home party for Mr. Suter. Once he gets back. If he gets back this week.
Yeah.
Could you imagine if we threw a welcome home party for every time he left?
You blow the budget by April.
God, it would be like it'd be like a party every 10 days. All right, thanks. Appreciate the call.
Have a good day.
All right. That was a good call.
Yeah.
Breaking it
right
down.
out of the gate.
Breaking it down.
Right out of the gate, we just killed 15 minutes.
Yeah.
That's how we look at this as killing.
Now we need 4 more people. And
4 more to do that. Well, here we got one right here. And how long do you want me to keep him on?
for
the money?
Till money. Hello.
Hello.
Hello. Good morning.
Pat, I was wondering, is Josie Jewell projected to make it with the Broncos, or is he just on a...
No, I think I would be surprised. Like I said, I am by no means an NFL expert, and I don't want to act like I know anything for certainty. But judging from what I've read, what I hear, I would be surprised if he didn't at least, at worst, make the practice squad. But if anyone knows more about the NFL and wants to come on and explain different, I think Ben Neiman's going to make the Kansas City practice squad. I really do, and maybe even more. Those are two of my predictions. I do. Obviously, James Daniels is a Bear. Hell, he should start, what I'm seeing. But no, I would be surprised if Josie didn't make that roster.
Yeah, I thought they were on TV the other day, and he was playing. It doesn't mean anything in the preseason. He made a couple tackles. Is Ferent's son still there, too?
James Ferent? I don't know. That one Captain Google and see what. No, I don't. Is James Ferent still playing in the NFL?
I thought. Let
me
check.
He's going to look it up right now. Off the top of my head, a lot of my colleagues would know that right off the top of their head, but this is the beauty of me. I just don't know. Are you looking at Hunter's looking it up?
This is from the Mile High Report in Denver. Josie Jewell shows a ton of promise.
Yeah.
At different times, I watched a bit of his tape here and there, but concluded it best to see how he adjusted the NFL speed. He was impressive, but I can also see why he fell to the 4th round of the NFL draft. He's faster in pads because he has very good instincts to the ball.
Yeah, he's not a big physical specimen by any means.
Yeah.
I mean, that's part, but he is productive and he is smart. And so far, the other thing you can say about him is he's very durable.
Yeah, another question to ask is, as Game 2 bleeds into Game 3, is if he can consistently take good angles to the ball. Everyone notices the good plays, but there are a few of these sprinkled in as well. So
he is signed as a reserve future contract with the Patriots.
Oh, James is? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. James is
hung. One more question.
Sure, go ahead.
Is there anybody, I don't know, linebackers starting this year, anybody, a freshman or like a James Morris moved in and automatically played?
A true freshman playing? I mean, I don't want to say never. I mean, right now it looks, Amani Jones has got the middle linebacker position pretty much locked down. He's the junior from Chicago. Nick Neiman is going to replace his brother at outside, and then the will right now is between Dijon Colbert and Barrington Wade's out there, but who's the other guy? Christian Welch. As far as true freshmen, I think
Morris started as a freshman, didn't he?
Yeah, there was injuries. He came in 4 games into it and started. He had to. But I think true freshmen Seth Benson and Dylan Doyle, the kid from West High, I think both of those guys are going to play this year, at least on special teams, and we'll see if one of those guys ends up, because none of these guys ahead of them have hardly any game experience. Now, granted, they have way more experience being in college, but I think Dylan Doyle and Seth Benson, they've been singled out. They've been mentioned by Coach Parker, talked about him yesterday, and I think they're definitely going to play this year. Now, whether they start, I don't know about that.
Richard in the chat room says, and he was just in Denver, they love Josie Jewell there. Based on Sports Talk Radio, Jewell will 100% make the
That's
team.
like I said, that confirms it even more. I hadn't read anything suggesting that he was in over his head. So because fourth-round picks, a lot of them do make the team, but some don't. I mean, it's not a guarantee.
Every pick is a crapshoot.
No, it really is. So there you go. I think. Yep.
I'm going out in the line on this. I think Iowa's season is going to depend on how the linebackers play this year.
Well, I mean, stopping the run is a big part of it, and I mean that certainly no. I mean, you can't argue with that. I mean, there's a lot of things that go into it, but no, you're right because. You watch tapes of them last year, man. Those linebackers, Neiman, Bauer, and they were everywhere. They made so many different plays. They really did. So we'll see.
Good linebackers.
Yep, you're right.
All right, thanks. All
right, have a good day.
Got some breaking news from Ohio State.
They extended his contract.
No. The president and the board of regents or board of trustees are deliberating his future. Urban Meyer is at the meeting. They didn't expect him to be there.
They should have a shot. He's running the meeting. He says, "Shut up." He's telling them, "Shut up."
Well, CNN is going to do a story on it coming up.
On Urban?
On Urban.
Urban's renewal?
Yes.
He's not going anywhere.
I don't think he is.
I don't either. Suter was right. Suter said from the beginning, I thought that was just his petty, jealous Hawkeye inferiority complex speaking, but he was Suter. Suter knew it. And I just, of course, we got to wait until after the fact, but I just lose. It's not that I ever had a ton of respect for Ohio State. I guess I hadn't really given Ohio State much thought from a respect standpoint, but this just really kind of sours my opinion on Ohio State. If he's there. I love the fact that Urban's pushing for time already served. You know, I mean, I don't think Urban wants to miss a game. I think Urban's pissed that he's even having to do this because I think he's convinced himself by telling his superior, "I did my job. I'm done. I'm safe." And
it's just, honest to God, it's making all this crap is making the Big Ten look like crap.
Yes, this part is making Urban Meyer and Ohio State look like crap. Now it'll be interesting. I mean, it'd be nice if the Big Ten could sometimes step in, but it never. Big Ten doesn't want to do anything to ruffle feathers with the schools that bring in the most revenue. They're big. They're big elite schools. I mean, Penn State and Ohio State. They showed what they did. If you're going to cave for child rape, I would imagine you're going to cave for just about anything, aren't you?
I would think.
Yeah.
I mean, they softened. They let up on Penn State. And they hadn't even given Penn State the death penalty, and they still let up on Penn State because they wanted to get them back as a cash cow. They wanted them to be elite again in football, and it's sad. And I don't know. We'll see. Have they decided when they're going to? Have they said when they're going to announce something with this Ohio State thing?
No,
they're in the meeting right now.
Yeah, they're in the meeting now.
It's supposed to be an hour or two, probably, but who knows?
So they're basically letting Urban know his fate right now, and Urban's probably in there. Negotiate. I wonder if it's all was done before he got there, or if Urban,
well, you know that damn well it was done before he got there.
But what if it
one
was,
way or the other?
Well, what I'm saying though is, I wonder how much influence he's going to have in that hour he's in there with him now. How much things could maybe they thought when he walks in there, we're going to suspend him for 6 games. He comes in there and starts making threats because somebody tweeted that he's got more power than the university president. Is really weak there politically or something, and of course this is going to seep into politics.
Yeah, everything. The board of trustees is in there too, and they've got the power basically.
Hello.
Hey, it's lonely old Grandpa Dirk. Happy birthday, Pat.
Thanks, Dirk.
You know what you were doing 6 years ago tonight?
Complaining that he was here.
No, it wouldn't have been at night. I wouldn't have been here at night.
That's right.
You and I were at the England Theater.
Was it Mickey Hart?
Yeah.
That was 6 years ago tonight?
Yes.
Wow.
Popped up on my Facebook.
I do remember that. I still have the ticket stuff. The Mickey Hart band, Captain.
Yeah. Front row, baby.
Can we sing a song? Oh wait, no, they're YouTubing this nonsense.
Yeah.
It's hard to sing drum songs.
So when Suter comes back, is that the first show we do where we don't YouTube so we can play music?
Whatever you want.
Well, we should have played music on my birthday.
I'm doing.
Screw YouTube.
Well, I'm doing this for a backup.
Oh, all right, all right.
They're saying on MSN that they don't expect a decision today.
On Urban?
Yeah, there's no time.
No, he needs time to think about it. He needs time tonight to go home to think about what he wants his punishment to be. Let's see. Do I want the 2-year extension, or do I want the slap on the wrist? I'll let him know tomorrow. It's a
I like
joke.
that urban renewal line.
It's just, I don't know. I like urban liar. I didn't realize that's what they called him down at Florida. It was urban liar.
Well, and it says here that Ohio State President Michael Drake will have the final say on whether Meyer is fired or faces other consequences.
But couldn't the Board of Regents take over if they wanted to? Don't they have power over a president?
Yeah, and there's something on Twitter. This guy named Tim May says he's got
the writer from the Columbus Dispatch.
Insider with ties to the Ohio State Board of Trustees tells him that he's been told the board and the president will make the decision together, not just the president
That's
alone.
what I thought.
So
he's going to get, I think, at worst, a 3 or 4 game suspension. And
I don't think you'll get that many.
But he's fighting that, from what it sounds like. He's fighting. He's already says that he should be awarded for time served, which is it's all about him. It's just all about Urban Meyer, and that's obvious now.
So, on a different note, what do y'all think about the baseball pennant race?
I think the Cubs. I'm confident the Cubs. I'm not confident they're going to win the division anymore, but I've never been that confident. I do think they will score more than 1 run in a game again at some point.
I don't know, man.
It's got to be a record where only 1 run has scored 5 straight games.
Right, without base hits. They're all home runs.
Every single one.
Not to say I told you so, but I've told you so. This was my biggest concern.
Yeah.
And Addison Russell, I think they're getting ready to get rid of him.
Well, he's hurt now.
I know, but I bringing Daniel Murphy in.
Well, he's a rental player for the end of this year's contract.
But if they do sign him, though,
great move by the Cubs.
I read a couple stories yesterday where Russell may be on his way out.
That's what they were saying.
I mean, he's a 260, 270 hitter. He's not hitting for any power this year. He showed power last year. What's he got? 7 home runs.
Well, and these guys have been banged up all year, and they're right now starting a 23 games set of games without a day off. And they've lost 3 in a row. Now, yesterday was the start of that 23-game stretch. So this is going to be real pivotal for these guys.
Well, it's going to come down to pitching as much as it will.
Well, and the pitching's been good.
But,
I mean, for the most part.
I'm talking about a 23 straight game stretch. You've got to have not just great starting pitching, but your bullpen.
Yeah, no, I've been happy with the Cubs pitching. They just can't hit. They just cannot hit with any consistency or any. I mean, they just cannot hit. And it's the same thing. Even their best player, Javier Baez, goes through stretches where he's 0 for 14 with 9 strikeouts.
Yeah, he was 1 for.
He's down right now.
He was 1 for 14 going.
His average is below 290 now.
Yeah,
I mean, I'm not that surprised. I still think they could win the division. Don't get me wrong. I'm not going to. I mean, because no offense, Dirk, the Cardinals aren't a great team. The Brewers aren't. These are 3 slightly above. These are 3 slightly above average teams trying to hang on to win a division to go and probably get pounded by the better pitching team out west.
Well, I'm thinking.
I will repeat that something we all know and have seen proven year after year. It's the hottest team at the end of the season, and in baseball.
Not always. I mean, the Cubs 2 years ago, they were hot all through the year, but had a little stretch at the end where they struggled a little bit, and they still went 70. That's true a lot, but the Cubs, when they won the Super Bowl, the World Series, that wasn't the case. I mean, that's the Cardinal in you saying, "Hey, look how hot we are. We're coming." I get it.
It's not.
It is, even though it is. I mean, because it'd be the same if a Cub fan called in under. It is. That's fine. The Cardinals are the hottest team right now, but I don't think the Cardinals are that good. But I don't think the Cubs are that good. Neither one of those teams are very good.
Well,
they're okay.
Just picked up a key piece yesterday from Washington,
but they don't compare at all to the Yankees or the Red Sox. That's all I'm saying is they just.
My point is. It often doesn't matter when you get into a 5 or 7 game series.
Oh, I know that. But lots of times it does. Like, look at the Yankees when they won 3 out of 5. They went into each of those. You knew they were the best team, and they were the best team. But I'm not convinced.
The Red Sox in 2005, when they were just a couple outs away from being swept out of the playoffs.
Yeah, and I'm not convinced the Red Sox are going to win it this year. Baseball's too weird. But I still think the Cubs are the most talented team in their division on paper, but that doesn't mean they're going to. Especially now that he's out. I mean, he's gone. They haven't had Yu Darvish all year.
No, he's not been a factor at all.
He hasn't been a factor.
Now, Brandon Morrow's supposed to be back soon, so that's a good thing.
That'll help.
That will help.
But you're right. Now you've been following the Cardinals all your life. Was Matheny that bad of a manager?
it's becoming more and more clear that not just him, but his hitting coach, John Mabry, weren't doing a very good job with the individual players, and that as soon as Schilt came on the scene, the atmosphere in the clubhouse changed.
And some of that, too, is momentum from a change. I think this guy's done a great job, but I'm not ready to anoint him as the next great Cardinal. Let's give it a little more body of work before we start saying, oh, God, he's everything that Mike Matheny was.
No question, though, that there was a big infusion for the Cardinals. Even Dexter Fowler started hitting again.
I think right now it would be a shame if the Cubs don't win it because there's not a really good team in the division right now.
I guess the positive for all baseball fans is we've got a good old-fashioned pennant race, a three-way pennant race in the Central, and the American League is very exciting, too, in the West with Seattle and Oakland.
And once college football starts, I don't give it hardly any thought unless the Cubs win. That's really how I am. If the Cubs win, I'll watch.
Jim, you'd said I've been following the Cardinals, but just as much I've been following baseball.
And that's my main sport too. I mean, I don't even start thinking really seriously about the NFL until the World Series is over, because then you've got the other basically half of the cold half of the NFL season to come, and then of course the Super Bowl goes into February. So, I'm the same way as you are, Dirk. I love the game. I love watching pickup games and high school and college and women's softball and just the game itself is just. I've had a love affair with it since I was a little kid, so I watch as many games as I can.
I think baseball is life. Baseball is life. You've heard the skit by George Carlin.
You sound like Donald Sutherland's character in the Animal House. Remember that professor? Smoking weed without any pants on?
I believe baseball is life on so many levels. And there's, and I guess to sum it up, even the most successful batters in baseball fail 2 out of 3 times.
Right.
And that's a metaphor for life, because none of us are perfect. All of us fail repeatedly, and yet the key, again, with baseball is to, you keep at it, you keep after it, and again, like George Carlin said, the goal is to go home. I just love that.
Captain, are you crying?
I think I'm tearing up. Well, he brought up a good point. You fail. Well, for instance, 1600 fails to get a call.
I knew it was coming. I spotted that one easy.
2 out of 3 centuries.
I saw that one coming.
Thanks, Dirk.
I've got to get back to
All right, Dirk, thanks.
I did want to wish you a happy birthday.
Thank you, appreciate it.
I hope Captain spins a little Grateful Dead for you today.
No, he won't.
No, not at all.
Not at all, nothing. I can't even sing ripple. You won't even... Trucking? No.
But happy birthday.
All right, thanks.
Thanks for taking my call. Go Hogs.
What about money? Did we get a break?
No money.
Money's unpredictable.
Money
really is hit and miss with the show and in my life. I was, yesterday I turned to the mail and I look and there's something that says Parade Man. I got my freelance check from Athlons for my basketball preview,
right.
like 2 months sooner than I thought I would. That was kind of nice.
Yeah. And where's your breakdown of the games and scores of the basketball season? Come on, let's go.
Well, we've already. I've got them going about anywhere between 7 and 12 wins. If they go 12-8, that would be incredible. I don't think that would be enough to get them in the NCAA tournament, but it's hard. It's so hard to gauge them coming off a 4-win conference season, and now they're playing 20 conference games. I mean, it's
Hello.
Happy birthday, Pat.
What was that? Was that a fake or was that real? Was that fake?
It was just creepy is what it was. Speaking of baseball, last night FS1 had a documentary on the Sandlot.
That movie?
They got all the guys back together.
I've never seen the movie, so I don't.
Oh, okay. Well,
I'm not knocking. I just have never seen it. I know people that love it.
And they showed some behind the scenes footage from the making of the movie when it was out, and it was really cool how the kids, the director got the kids to hang out for a long time before they started shooting, so that they were buddies, and you could see it on the.
Oh, that would help.
On the
kind of like what they did with Platoon. He took them out into the woods and starved them and treated them terribly, so they'd be mad and miserable when they filmed all those jungle scenes. No, I mean that's getting your characters ready. Actually, Platoon was on last night.
That's what I do with Hunter before he comes.
You take him out to the cornfield?
Yeah.
He just walks in and tells me to shut up and why do you do the things that you do? And all
you won't like this, Jim. I mean, baseball was probably my best sport to play and my favorite sport, pitching. I mean, I had trouble catching the ball out. I could pitch. That was about it.
I could shag flies all day long. It was my favorite thing to do.
Hello. So did you play high school baseball?
No, I didn't.
I did.
Wasn't quite that talented, but boy, when I was a kid.
I could hit. I couldn't do much of anything.
Yeah.
Well, I could catch okay, but I could hit.
But I've just have never been a huge. I mean, like the baseball movie, people swear by Major League, Bull Durham. The only baseball movie that's really 42 with Jackie.
That's
I like
an excellent movie.
Just partly because I just loved watching Harrison Ford play Branch Rickey. I just got to kick it.
But it is a great movie.
It's a good movie.
Yeah, it is.
Hello.
Back to old Hawkeyes. Pat, the two wrestlers that won golds in freestyle over the weekend.
Well, the Cassiope. And what was the other one? Cassiope.
I can't remember.
Yeah, what about them?
Are they, what weights, because they did in kilograms, what weights are they going to wrestle
Richard,
for Iowa?
We need Richard's help.
Yeah.
Cassiope's the heavier of the two.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I would only be cheating you if I tried to answer that
because
off the top of my head.
They had the weights in kilograms,
But we'll get it from Podasky, and we'll once he tells us, we'll say it on the air because I just don't know. I'm sorry.
Okay, I just want to know if they're going to be in the starting lineup.
Oh, that I have seen. Because there's some people in the media love to project how great their starting lineup's going to be next year, and how it's kind of like, hey, Penn State, we're coming. I think I've seen the Cassiope maybe in these projected lineups, but I just, like I said, I just don't know enough. But Richard, I think will be able to give us a good, and he'll either answer us on the in the chat room, or he'll be in here in about a half an hour. So either way, we'll get the answer before we're off the air.
Thank you.
All right. Yeah, I don't. I mean, I can tell you some stuff about Iowa wrestling and what have you, but boy, when it comes to projecting guys at certain weights that aren't her yet, I can't.
Well, you're locked into football, right?
Well, now. I cover some wrestling. We try to cover as much as we can.
Yeah.
Hello.
Yeah, as far as those two wrestlers, Jeremiah Moody was the lighter one of the two. He's about 165, 174. There's been some reports on him possibly cutting to 157, but I highly doubt that. He's a pretty big kid.
So is he an incoming wrestler?
I'm sorry?
Is he an incoming freshman?
No.
That's what I thought. He's on the roster. I remember seeing that name.
Yeah, he's on the roster. He's about a redshirt sophomore or junior.
Okay, I do recognize the name.
And then the heavyweight, I mean, he's good unless Stoll can't go.
Oh,
I
of
would
course.
Look at him being redshirted because we do have another kid. His name is Costello.
Oh, the kid from Dubuque.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I don't know if they would blow a redshirt year on Cassiope unless we really, really needed him.
Okay, Cassiope's the big-time heavyweight they have coming in. I knew they had a...
Right.
Okay, thanks. You put the names together. So I would think Sam Stoll will be healthy-wise if he's ready. I mean, because he's a pretty good wrestler who has a chance as a senior to me have a really good year. I mean, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, and there's some reports that he could start the year number one in the country based on the guys that are returning and, the guys that graduated. And he is a senior, so.
No, I agree with you. And the incident, I don't think that should cost him. I mean, they made a mistake that was stuff with the guns and stuff. I don't think that
they got really lucky.
They did, and I don't think that should have.
You could almost say they dodged a bullet.
They did, and I don't think that should have a big impact on what he. I'm sure he's being punished legally by Iowa. I think if he's healthy, he's got a chance. My guess is they'd like to probably redshirt the Cassiope, wouldn't they, if they could?
Yeah, I think that's what the ideal plan would be, and as long as Sam's knees back to health, I think he'll be in there.
Okay, well, thank you.
There's plenty of steps to run in Carver to make up for his mistake.
Well, yes, I agree, and you sound pretty knowledgeable on wrestling. What's your expectation for going into? Because things do look on the upswing, but I remember there's been Iowa's always had some really good recruiting class. What's your expectation? Do you think they can beat Penn State next year?
I think we're going to be a lot more competitive with them, with who I think is going to be in the lineup.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure if we're ready to make that jump yet. I know some of there's been talk about some of Penn State's guys moving weights, so that'll play into it as well.
Have you seen their incoming recruiting class?
Yeah, and they've got an unbelievable incoming recruiting class, but then also so does Ohio State.
Okay, so you're saying Ohio State's going nowhere then, right? Because I keep thinking
No,
Iowa
they're
may
not going anywhere either.
Okay, I mean, like I said, these are not easy times, but it is fascinating watching the Brands brothers try to catch up with a dynasty because they've been a part of a dynasty as a wrestler and as a coach. I find it fascinating.
Right. I think we're getting back in the mix. I mean, between this year's recruiting class, who we've got on the team, and what they've got recruited for the future, I think we're making strong statements.
And I know enough I mean, you got Spencer Lee, you got Marinelli. They're barring injuries. Lee is going to be a favorite to win. Marinelli's a guy who's going to score a lot of points. The Jacob Warner kid, it sounds like from what I've read and heard that it would be a disappointment if he wasn't like a top 6 at the NCAAs. Would you say, even though he's never wrestled at this level, this kid sounds like he's got a chance to be pretty good? Am I going overboard?
No, I think you're absolutely right. He should be a high-placing All-American. You know, and then there's reports you got Kimmer moving up a weight or two, possibly 2 weights. So you still got him in the mix.
That was the other name I couldn't think of was Kimmer. Yeah, no, you're right.
Yeah,
so I do agree because it looks like it's obvious as long as Cale Sanderson's at Penn State, they're not going to slip. It's a matter of Iowa narrowing the gap, and that appears to be what we're starting to see. Now, they still have to do it. But do you agree? Because I don't think Penn State's ever going to be mediocre under Cale Sanderson as long as he's there.
No, I don't think so either. I think it's kind of like where Iowa was during its dynasty. The other teams got to catch up, and now we're doing the same thing, and I think we're setting ourselves up for that.
Okay. No, I think that's fair to say because they do have some good recruits coming in and got some good transfers. It just seems like there's more energy in the Iowa wrestling room right now. And the other thing, they scored a lot of bonus points at the Nationals, and that to me is a big improvement because it just shows that there's been a change. Because I know enough about wrestling to know there's lots of times where I'd watch Iowa over the years, and it seems like the further they got into bigger tournaments, the more they wrestled not to lose. Spencer Lee comes in, and it just seems like he has helped lift the attitude. And I just saw a lot more aggressive Iowa wrestling. Is that fair to say at the NCAAs this year?
Yeah, I think it is. You know, the attitude's changing, the style's getting back to what it was. And I think you're right, too, with the transfers we got in here. That's really going to fill in some weaker spots that we had last year.
Yes, older veteran guys coming in ready to go right away. That's big. That's big in any sport.
Yep.
Okay, well, thanks. Appreciate the information there. We didn't have to wait long for an answer. Thanks. Appreciate it.
Okay. Are you familiar with 11 Warriors?
That's the Ohio State. That's some website out there.
Announcement on Urban Meyer status expected today, according to 2 sources with knowledge.
Okay. So you can never go wrong when you have 2 sources with knowledge.
Yeah, you got 2 sources.
They don't just have one.
No, they got 2 sources.
So should we take a break now since I've got cotton mouth and we'll take a break and we'll come back. That first 45 minutes just flew.
We just broke it. Well, you broke it.
This has been pretty serious. There's been and we've had good calls, and that was nice though. Somebody calls in, I'm an idiot, I don't have the answer. 2 seconds later, the answer calls in.
Well, and we'll talk. They're going to bring back Columbo.
Columbo?
Yeah.
What? How?
You're going to push Peter Falk's casket out there?
No, they got a new Columbo.
Will he wear a trench coat?
It says...
Ed Begley Jr. going to do it?
Legendary TV detective Columbo is returning to TV.
Robert Downey would be good in that part.
First assignment to find the missing callers for KGYM. So we'll be back.
You can see and hear us on YouTube or listen on the TuneIn app. Our video and audio streams are powered by the Iowa City Marketplace.
1-800-800-ROSE. 1-800-800-ROSE. Your FTD florist is the only number you need to know to send flowers anywhere in the country or Canada from anywhere in the country. 1-800-800-ROSE. It's so easy. Just remember one number. 1-800-800-ROSE. Your FTD florist. 1-800-800-ROSE. Remember, over the years, car keys have gotten extremely complex. Mike's Lock and E-Keys for Cars can generate the most technically advanced automotive keys on the market today. Mike's Lock and E-Keys for Cars can produce most conventional transponder, sidewinder, and remote-headed keys. If you've lost the keys to your car or simply need a duplicate, call 330-9185. Mike's Lock and E-Keys for Cars has the technology to keep you on the road. Call 330-9185 and schedule an appointment today.
Every time we go there, it just feels great.
Like happy and excited.
Reboot Family Night at the Oxyoke Inn.
Talking to each other about the day and everything.
My mom, my dad, and my sister.
The food makes everybody happy.
I like potato pancakes.
Chicken schnitzel.
Roast beef with mashed potatoes and gravy.
Kind of reminds me of something from my childhood. And then they bring a tray of desserts.
Pie and stuff like that.
I like chocolate. She likes Death by Chocolate.
It's cake that just has a lot of layers of chocolate frosting.
It's really magical. And then we pass the forks around.
Families in everything they do at the Oxyoke Inn.
It feels like I've been with my family.
It just makes everyone happy and have new family memories.
We all like it.
Just 20 minutes from Cedar Rapids and Coralville's Coral Ridge Mall.
Oxyoke Inn.
Dear U of I, just a note to let you know if you're ever thinking about selling Kinnick Stadium or Carver Hawkeye Arena, please consider Hawkeye Title and Settlement. We're here to provide efficient, high-quality real estate title and closing services. Signed, Hawkeye Fan Forever, and send. Hi, this is Steve Anderson with Hawkeye Title and Settlement. Whether it's a large commercial property or if you're buying your first home, remember, we're here to help. Hawkeye Title and Settlement Services of Iowa City. You'll love our team just like you love the Hawks.
In the electrical field, we know time is in high demand and often short supply. At Sittler's LED Supplies, we value our relationships with local contractors and electricians to evaluate jobs, create layouts, recommend and supply our in-stock products, and file incentive paperwork for your customers. How much time and money can Sittler's LED Supplies save your business? Call 1-800-426-3938 to talk to one of our lighting experts, or stop in, meet the team, and tour our facility at 111 Westview Drive in Washington.
We want movies!
Hello, I'd like to switch to DirecTV. I want over 150 channels with HD DVR service and equipment fee included for one receiver.
DirecTV. Package offers start at incredibly low monthly prices. Call now.
Big Dog TV and Internet, 395-0800, or stop by and see us on Players Ferry Road in Cedar Rapids. Ends 8/31/18, 24-month agreement required, $35 activation, early termination fee of $20 per month for each remaining month on agreement. Equipment non-returned and additional fees apply. New approved customers only. Equipment lease required. Restrictions apply. Call for details.
Car won't go into gear? Call Premier. Premier Automotive in North Liberty offers full-service mechanical auto repair, in addition to being Eastern Iowa's most trusted name in auto body repair. Use Premier for all your auto repair needs: brakes, oil changes, air conditioning, diagnostics, transmissions, or preventative maintenance. Whether you hit a deer or your car won't go into gear, see Premier Automotive in North Liberty. If you are looking for creative, eye-popping graphics, look no further than Zephyr Sign and Graphics. Zephyr specializes in vehicle graphics, posters, indoor and outdoor banners, stretched canvas signs, vinyl, plastic, or frame metal yard signs. Call Zephyr Signs and Graphics at 351-3500. That's 351-3500. And ask for the large format department. For incredibly creative and effective signs and graphics, stop by Zephyr Signs and Graphics in the heart of downtown Iowa City's Ped Mall at 125 South Dubuque Street. GT Carr, owner of Supple Siding and Remodeling, offers service and quality that is unmatched in the area. At Supple Siding and Remodeling, their trained professionals will install and guarantee the products used in any size job done, regardless of the project. Supple Siding and Remodeling will stand behind their quality products and installation with exceptional customer service. Whether it's a window replacement, a kitchen remodel, or a house addition, our employees are committed to quality. Visit sales at supples.net or call 337-2246.
Mighty 1630 KCJJ, allhawkeyes.com. Still waiting for CNN's report on Urban. So.
Well, how's CNN going to have anything before Ohio State releases anything?
I don't know. I don't know what their reports
have. They said when Ohio State?
Well, they do that little sports dealie right about 5 till the hour.
I love how this thing. Okay, we're going to meet now, and then it's like, I don't know. What if they can't
This is already decided.
That's what I think.
I'm not buying.
I think this is. They already know. I think they already said, "Hey, listen, you're not going anywhere. Trust me. Come in on Wednesday, and we'll work this thing out." But no, we'll got to discuss a few things.
Yeah,
but
Urban's wearing a suit. That's what we have here.
Yeah,
we've
got to make this look good. That's what it amounts to.
Well, they got to try to do damage control, but I think it's obvious who's calling the shots there. And I tweeted this the other day. I just wish Ohio State fans would admit and acknowledge that he's a lying scumbag, but that he wins so much and has been so good to their program, and they don't think they can get anyone better, and that's what matters more than anything right now. I'd almost respect him more, but to try to hide it behind this guys that he did nothing wrong because he simply reported, that's just the Penn State people did the same thing. I just don't get it.
It's ridiculous. Okay, you report it once and it continues and nothing happens, and you do not do anything about it.
I mean, a man with any moral fiber would have called up hey, what's going on? The beater's still on my staff. I mean, we're going to get this. But he wasn't going to do that because it was Earl Bruce's grandson. The whole thing was just twisted with conflicts of interest and everything.
Hello.
Husker fan here.
Okay.
Hey, you guys haven't even talked about Scott Frost yet.
Well, we spent the whole last show making fun of him.
What's going on?
Well, we spent the last show making fun of him, didn't we? Wasn't it the last show? Do you want us to spend 10 or 15 minutes talking about him? What do you got? What do you want to know?
Of course. Well, I'm just here to
Okay, you're a Nebraska fan. So do you have
We are back. We are going to be, we're going back to the days of President Bush.
Well,
I'm talking about first Bush.
Do you have him winning 15 or 16 games this year?
Jim, do you remember first Bush?
I do.
You do, yeah. Well, first Bush was great. We're going back to first Bush. I had heard Hillary secretly liked Bush.
Okay, that could be construed. That's kind of a play on words.
Yeah, that's what he's trying.
Oh, I see. Okay. You still haven't answered my question. Is Nebraska going to win 15 or 16 games this year?
Well, yeah. Well, how many? I got to add this up a second. So they got the playoffs. How many games are in the playoffs?
You play 15.
Games in the playoffs. Yeah.
But I figured they may get an extra victory just because they'll be so good.
Well, they'll take out a high school.
Yeah, or maybe the Patriots.
Yeah. After we run the table, then we're going to be just thrown right into the Super Bowl and win that too. So I guess 16 would be the
okay,
answer.
You're right. Okay, all right.
Okay,
all right.
Well, back to Scott Frost as soon as possible.
All right. Yeah, that was last show that we.
Yeah.
Well, because they had the autograph site, and I do find it weird that the Omaha World Herald has already written a book about him.
Are you kidding me?
Well, Google it. Omaha World Herald book, Scott Frost. They've been promoting it big time.
Here's the Bleacher Report. So this.
What are they saying?
Huh? Oh, let's see.
We got Poppy on here.
The future at Ohio State may soon be determined. The university's Board of Trustees is meeting right now. Lindsay Zarniak is with me. She has more on this morning's Bleacher Report.
So, literally, as we speak, this is going down. Things are changing. The Board of Trustees and President of Ohio State, they've been meeting since 9 this morning. Urban Meyer has been seen on site, so that's now adding speculation that a decision on his future could be forthcoming. This Bleacher Report brought to you by Ford, going further so you can. Meyer has been on paid leave since Ohio State began investigating what he knew about domestic violence claims against former assistant coach Zach Smith, whom Meyer brought with him from the University of Florida. There's no timetable on a decision regarding Meyer's future, but of course now that's in question, knowing that he is there on site. Smith, who has denied the abuse allegations, was fired from the team last month, 3 days after his wife received a protective order. And meanwhile, in the midst of a busy news day for President Trump, he turned the topic to sports at a rally yesterday in West Virginia after months of disparaging NFL players over their decision to protest. The president is now taking aim at ESPN for recently announcing it will not air the national anthem before the network's Monday night football games.
It was just announced by ESPN that rather than defending our anthem, our beautiful, beautiful national anthem, and defending our flag, they've decided that they just won't broadcast when they play the national anthem. We don't like that.
All right, Dick. I mic was still on. Sorry.
Pat, check this out on the computer screen. That's the comic book, special comic book edition of The Return of Scott Frost.
But did you see though? There is a book being There's a book being written about him. I mean, it's just
the Scott Frost biography.
I've never seen anything like it. I mean, it's
pre-order for delivery after. Well, actually, it's out now.
Are you going to order it? Captain, why don't you order one for the? Oh, let's get Suter one. How much is it?
$29.95.
Why don't we all pitch in five? Tommy, should we get Suter one?
I have seen this comic book, at least parts of it. And what's great is the great climax is that he's up in the press box, Scott Frost, for whatever reason. He's at the Iowa game watching it, and he said, "This can't continue." And it's like, that's when he turns into Superman, and it's great.
God.
We're the villain. We are the villain in the comic book.
Yes, we are.
Hello.
The black and gold.
Hey guys, how you doing today, Pat?
Good, Dave. How are you?
From Bettendorf. Happy birthday.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
No problem. And Hunter and Captain, good to hear you guys in the background.
Hey, Dave, I got a question for you. Not to interrupt, but Tom Kakert, I was conversing with him on Twitter because he's doing some podcast in the Quad Cities with a radio station. I'm sure you'll see it, but they were asking for questions. And related to maybe the Quad City area. So I asked him who was the better high school running back between Curtis Craig, Roger Craig, and Tavian Banks.
Oh, that good question.
That's a great question. I'm originally from Dubuque, but I've been down here 40 years now. I didn't actually see Roger or Curtis play in high school. I did see Tavian, and I don't think I saw a better in my day. In late 60s, I don't think I've seen a better high school running back in this area or maybe the state of Iowa. And I loved Tim Dwight, too, and he was fantastic. But I never saw anybody could cut on a dime like Tavian.
No, I didn't either.
I was going to mention, you bringing up Tavian, I was going to talk about running backs here in a minute, but I think we never had two more God-given gifted running backs than Akram and Tavian that could cut on a dime.
Ronnie Harmon.
That could make some of the moves they made. So
remember Ronnie Harmon?
More, but
Ronnie Harmon belongs in that group too. I
agree. Ronnie Harmon's in there too. And you're right. But yeah, Tavian. I'd say Tavian was the most gifted. Roger and Curtis are legends at Davenport Central, and great running backs. And
Roger was Roger was a superstar.
And
Roger
in the NFL. Had the great career, like you said, with the 49ers. So
Curtis was.
I'm
not old enough to remember Curtis very much, but I do remember that he scored, I believe, 6 touchdowns in the state championship game against my alma mater, Dowling, in 1973. And I've had people since I reached out to. I've had people tell me that if you just knew Curtis was better than Roger in high school.
Yes.
But Roger was obviously better at Nebraska. They moved Curtis to wingback at Nebraska. He played the Irvin Fryer position. Roger stayed as a running back. But remember, Roger lost his starting position to Mike Rozier. Roger was best in the NFL.
Yeah, that's where he shone.
But Curtis was an incredible high school player. I remember barely being old enough to read about him. Then another running back you have to put in there is not from the Quad Cities is Jerry Moses from Waterloo East. I mean, I did, and it's going to be interesting. I'll see what Tom and those guys how they discuss it because it's 3 people that have lived most of their life in the Quad Cities. But you're right though. Tavian was as gifted. He made running the football just look almost like a ballet. He was so gifted in the way he could make his body just twist and turn in a dime. I mean, it was amazing.
Yeah, it was unbelievable. And he played soccer, and I knew one of the guys was a high school.
He didn't just play soccer; he was a star.
He told me when he was in 8th grade that this guy is special. He said, "I've never seen a kid more gifted." So, but yeah, and like you said, Roger Craig. I remember I was at that great. You're talking about Nebraska. I was at that great Iowa-Nebraska game where the Hawks beat them 10-7, and I forgot where they were ranked in either the top 10 or 15. And that was the one that started hating on his way in the Hawkeye football comeback, and they kind of shut Roger and Nebraska down. And we had that great defense with Henri Tippett and some other great
Pat
Hawkeyes.
Dean, you're right. They had a great Bob Stoops. They did.
Bobby Stoops and some other the linebackers I can't remember, but they had some tough.
Mill Cole, Todd Simonson.
Yeah, you bring back some great names.
Brian
there,
Stratus.
and that stuff.
Well, those are all guys my brother went to. My brother was part of the 78 recruiting class. He was with Todd Simonson, and Bobby Stoops was in his class. John Harty was also a big John Harty was a big guy, 77, 78, or 980. No, wait, 70. John Harty was 77, 78, 79. No, he was not on the Rose Bowl team because he played from
John Harty, the one from Sioux City Healing?
Sioux City Healing, yeah. He was
right?
a year older than my brother. He played at Iowa from 77 to 80, I believe. But no, that 81 defense was incredible. I mean, they had – and Hayden commented when they got here, he's like, wow, we got a bunch of angry, talented kids on defense. These guys are just waiting to be molded. And they did. Bill Brazier came
Pat
in.
Peterson was another guy I think was a backup and came on.
No, Pat Peterson was my age. He was 84, 85. He was on that Rose Bowl team.
Okay.
But yeah, no,
Right.
another good guy he was from Bettendorf, I believe.
Yeah, he was. He was a Bettendorf kid, and it was a great one.
So
like
when did you move to the Quad
Cities?
Cities? What year?
I started with John Deere in November of '78, so I've been down there since '78.
So you moved in there right about the time that at the peak of Davenport Central's dominance, but they started to kind of lose that dominance from the late '60s to 1980. Davenport Central was probably the most dominant high school. I mean, they were incredible in everything. They beat my brother's
team.
High
school, I got out in '67. I can still remember Cedar Rapids Jefferson with Larry Lawrence, and Davenport Central had the big fullback Pat Wyatt and some other, like you said, they were two of the, and then Des Moines Dowling, your old alma mater, and Sioux City Hill and some other schools, but they were the stud teams over in this end of the state for a long time, like you said.
I mean, Dowling couldn't beat Central for a while.
The first time at the old Bettendorf High School, the first Bettendorf game I saw, Bettendorf upset Central. Like you said, Central was starting to go down, and I still say Mark Spranger, who played at Iowa, he played for Dubuque Hempstead, and they won their only state title, I think, in '79. And their old Bob Timmerman, they had some good teams up there. He transferred down, and he was on that first Bettendorf team that won a state title. It seemed like Marv Habenack, the old Bettendorf coach, right there about 1980, they turned the page, and Bettendorf became a powerhouse over here. And they've been, tough ever since, along with some of the other schools, Assumption and some other schools. But like you said, I think the other thing you heard Central and
was
West
Davenport North.
Created Davenport North,
Exactly.
and it just seemed like I don't know what happened there, but
it took away
it
took away a lot of their students. Took away a lot of their.
you're right.
Yeah, I mean, no, the building of that, but that's what happens. I mean, the building of Liberty is going to have an impact on West High. I'm not saying it's going to be anything major bad or whatever, but it is. It's an impact when you lose a bunch of students to what is now a rival school.
Yeah. Yeah. Last thing I'll say about high school, my brothers played at Old Loris Academy, all boys Catholic school, like St. Ambrose Academy over in Davenport, and my brothers played against Randy Duncan, and they always talked about how great Davenport or Des Moines Roosevelt was the big powerhouse in the 50s into the 60s, as you know, and then Dowling came on to this.
Yeah, Dowling wasn't very good in the 50s and 60s. Dowling, there was a time a lot of people aren't old enough to remember, but there was a time when Dowling was not very good in football. That was, I believe, the 50s, and then Jim Williams came in, and by the late 60s, there's still people that say the best Dowling team ever was the 1968 team. They didn't have the state playoffs back then, but I think that team had 9 guys go Division I. They had 2 go to Notre Dame and 1 go to Alabama. That's how good that 68 team was.
Wow. Well, they had some studs, yeah, and they've always been good. Hey, my other questions for you this morning, Pat. One about basketball. I just saw. I see Iowa's going to play Wisconsin on November 30th, and then they go to East Lansing. Is that going to, because we're going to 20 games?
Yes.
Why are they forcing? I didn't like this last year. I thought they should have kept the non-conference all in one tact. I thought.
Well, last year they did it because remember last year they did it because they had to move up the conference tournament because they were playing at Madison Square Garden, and the Big East has the week where normally so they moved that up a week. So now it's just simply because when you play 20 games, you got to find room for them. But no, I'm not a huge proponent of the 20-game schedule. I think 18 is enough. I like good non-conference games too, but we'll see. No, it's a tough start. I mean, we had a caller call in earlier. I mean, they play Wisconsin on a Friday, and then they're at Michigan State on a Monday. I mean, think about that in November. I mean, that is.
Yeah, I think it's going to be tough. I think that hurt Fran. I mean, we struggled last year, but I just don't really. And then you could be 1-1 or whatever.
And then you have Iowa State 3 days after Michigan State.
Yeah, I'd rather see them allow them to play all non-conference, and then at the end of December jump into the. I agree with you. I think 18's enough. But anyway, hey, one other thing, Pat. I saw where Brian Ferentz talked about the running backs yesterday, and it sounds like Ivory Kelly Martin is kind of bubbled to the top slightly above the other two. But I know Torrin Young and Mekhi Sargent.
They're all going to play.
There's a lot to like about Ivory Kelly, and I know we were talking about Tavian and Akram. He doesn't quite have their cutting ability, but he's got a lot of attributes, and it sounds like I like some of the things I saw last year. I just wonder what you think about him and about the running back. So one last thing, the Hawkeyes will start their regular game day week starting on Sunday, won't they, for the upcoming game?
Yes.
And next.
Yep. Yeah, and then they have Kirk's got it. Kirk has.
Hey, you guys do a great job, and tell Captain to take you out for lunch for your birthday, will you?
Yeah, but he'll make me pay.
Yeah, his turn.
Suitor's not here.
All right, well, good luck.
All
Have
right.
a good day, guys.
All right. Well, let me answer his question first about running. I wrote yesterday about the running backs. I don't want to name this person's name just because it's not. They told me this in confidence, but this is somebody who's not biased toward Iowa, but knows football like the back of their hand. And after Eno Benjamin decommitted from Iowa, and they went through all that mess with him visiting other schools, and Iowa fans were, oh, my God, we lost this 4-star from Texas. This individual reached out to me and said, listen, I've seen them both. I've talked to Coach. I know both guys. He goes, I'm not knocking Eno, but I'm telling you, the guy they have, this Ivory Kelly Martin, is just as good, if not better. He just doesn't have the pedigree. What he meant by that, Ivory Kelly Martin was a 3-star, mostly lightly recruited running back from boring Plainfield, Illinois. Eno Benjamin was a 4-star with multiple elite offers from talent-rich Texas. It just doesn't read as good as a recruiting story, but this person assured me that this kid was going to come in. He goes, he will be good. I'm not saying he's going to be a superstar, but I guarantee he will start at some point for Iowa, and maybe now we're starting to see that. That's the first thing I thought of, though, when Brian Ferentz revealed yesterday that, well, if we had a game now, he's our guy, and I remember thinking of this individual who told me this. And this guy's not a huge Iowa fan or anything. He just knows football, and he just said, this kid's the real deal, and we're seeing it. So, all right, go ahead.
No, I was going to say before that caller, ESPN and some of the other networks got together with White House staff, and I know this for a fact. They got together with White House staff, and they said, we'll put a dampen on all these protests. You know, they're working with the NFL and everything. We won't, broadcast the anthem for a period of time. And then last night, he comes out and attacks them for it. Because if they don't have the national audience, the protest isn't going to.
That's what he does. I mean, that's just what he does. Though.
Yeah.
I mean,
and he knew that.
Well, for years you didn't see that.
No, in 2009 the Army bought the national anthem.
What's funny though is he's
from the NFL.
Today he got up and he had that first tweet about Cohen, bad, and then right away responds is, "It's awake, it's alive." All these and people just I mean, it's hilarious. I don't know. This just seems like it's surreal.
Hello.
Hey, Pat.
Yeah.
A couple days ago on College Football Live on ESPN, they put up a list of the 5 most overrated coaches, and you probably already know Kirk was on there, but I was surprised to see Franklin on there from Penn State.
You said Kirk was on there?
Yeah, he was on there. He was number 3.
Was he really? Yeah. See, I don't pay attention to that.
He was also on the other list.
I don't believe
coaches are on overrated.
Overrated and underrated.
I don't agree with Kirk being overrated. Hell, Athlon did their top coaches in the Big Ten this year, and they had Kirk behind Scott Frost. He was like 8th. So I don't know who's overrating Kirk. Maybe they mean Iowa fans are overrating him, but hell, if they lose the season opener, there's going to be Iowa fans calling in here saying we need to have a coaching change. I don't agree with that, and I definitely don't agree with it with James Franklin. I'm not a Penn State fan by any means, but James Franklin has won wherever he's been. He hasn't. I guess he's had some issues at Vanderbilt. They had some issues and what have you, but I think that's just jealousy to say that James Franklin's overrated. Because aren't they doing that survey based on other coaches?
Yeah, it was on other coaches, and even the panel they're talking. They mainly talked about Franklin, how they can't understand why he was on that list.
Yeah, I mean, maybe I'm being biased because I'm so close to the Iowa program from covering it, but I don't think Kirk's overrated because I don't think he's rated that high by people outside of here. I mean, like I said, that Athlon thing I thought was pretty telling. They had him 8th.
Okay, who's the most overrated coach in college football? Willie Taggart, number 1.
Thanks, caller.
James Franklin, 2, with 20% for Taggart, 20% for Franklin, 13% for Kirk Ferentz, Lane Kiffin, 13%.
See, the fact that Ferentz is in with Lane Kiffin, that's just ridiculous. And Willie Taggart has been a head coach for like 1 or 2. He was at Oregon for... I mean, Willie Taggart hasn't even really been at the big-time level. He's at Florida State now. He was at Oregon for 1 year. Before that, he was at South Florida, I believe. I mean, I think they're saying he's overrated because Oregon and Florida State both hired him, I guess. I don't know what that's based on.
Yeah, Ferentz is on both lists.
On what's the other list?
Underrated.
Okay, I mean, stuff's just silly.
Yeah. Hello.
Husker fan. I just want to thank you guys. Just brought up the White House, and it reminded me I need to get my reservations made to attend the White House for our national championship celebration when we get invited there.
I would not procrastinate. You bet. So now do we have a fake Husker fan? Is that who that is, Captain? What's the name of him? What are you looking up now?
I was looking overrated, underrated.
So I probably should in my line of work. I probably should have clicked on the thing and read it. I just didn't.
CBS Sports. It really doesn't mean anything.
But that's a lot of lists. I'm guilty of it. I do it sometimes. You put lists together. If people like it on Twitter, then they like. I mean, it's just. I don't know. It's
anything to do anything to get any attention because nothing's going on.
Well, plus Twitter. You got to know how to work Twitter, too. Certain things work on Twitter. I mean, it's hard to explain, but there's just certain times when you'll put something on Twitter, you just know this thing's going to get a lot of attention on Twitter. But there's other times where you may write something that you think's even better and gets more overall views and stuff, which is really what should matter. But it doesn't get near the reaction on Twitter because it doesn't have that shock element to it or that inspiration element to it. Twitter is either a teardown or a cheering section.
Cesspool. Okay, the aunt of Molly Tibbetts came out yesterday and wrote a really decent, nice a thing when she saw that racism was entering into everything, and I talked to one of the family members through Facebook.
Who are we talking about now?
Through Facebook.
The Molly Tibbetts.
Yes, through Facebook Messenger, and they tipped me off to it. I looked it up and I posted it on Facebook.
I retweeted your tweet last night too from Facebook.
And then I
spilled her name.
Posted it on Twitter. Yes, that's the whole thing.
The one thing I retweeted you guys, and you spill her freaking name wrong.
Well,
I'm being ripped for it.
It's 10 o'clock at night.
I know,
and it's spell check.
I know.
I got spell check on the damn phone.
I just thought it was so impressive that family could come out and have that compassion, that courage, and to say, let's don't discriminate, let's don't paint anybody with a. I just was amazed at how much.
I mean, she said there were people that she knew that were not. For however reason she knew, documented per se, and they helped with the search and it worked long hours.
Sad.
I mean, it's terrible.
And I hate the fact because I had people responding to when I retweeted your thing. Some guy gets on there and says, "Yeah, you know why she was killed," and I'm like, "Don't turn this political, don't please." And then he was saying, and I'm like, "And just before you make the narrow-minded assumption." I'm not a Democrat. Never heard back from him after that. Because I think he assumed I'm not a Democrat or a Republican. I speak from where I stand by myself. I'm not, like I said, I like certain things about each party. But this Molly Tibbetts thing, you got to mourn and feel for the family before you turn it into a political narrative. I was so disgusted.
Well, and then so the name was spelled wrong. It just came out. I typed it right. I've had it right in others, but it was spelled wrong. I get up this morning. Yeah, it's IE. I get up this morning, and that's all that's on Twitter.
Oh, I'm sure.
Hey, you spelled the name wrong, and then somebody from Akron, Ohio goes, "This station just made this up." Like the whole statement's made up, and starts yelling fake news and crap. And I just bounced every one of them off.
There you go.
I did.
If you can't play fair and nice, we ain't playing. Is that what you're saying?
I just bounced them.
Get off my jungle, Jim.
I mean, it's ridiculous. Yes.
I was discouraged by how quickly it was turned into a political narrative.
Well, the governor turned it into it within an hour.
I mean, I don't know.
Governor
I just feel
kicked it off.
I feel so bad for the family. I mean,
it's awful.
I mean, I got a niece who started college this year. She's 1 year younger than Molly Tibbetts. I mean, it's just.
There's a memorial tonight at Hubbard Park.
I saw that. Her family are in my thoughts and prayers.
Yeah,
she's in my. Hopefully,
terrible.
she's in a. We just got to believe she's in a better place now. But boy, God, she needed more time on this earth.
Yeah,
20 years old, and I just. It's terrible. It's horrible. So. Boy, you've kind of taken us down
excuse me.
Down a dark path. Yeah. Now you're going to – how are we going to get back? You're going to have to bring us back. I can't do it. How are we getting back?
Matching the mood of average gym class show.
Wow, nice. God, you even got the nice Hunter. He doesn't say a bad word about anybody.
I'm giving myself a dig for that.
And now you got him doing it. Jeez. You're just proud about it. Sounds like that Dave guy's right about your age, Captain. Didn't you graduate?
Exactly, 67.
67. That's what I thought.
Yeah.
Where you graduated from.
He came to the Quad Cities the same time I did, although I was about 11 years younger. I was coming to go to school and become something. And see
Where'd
how
you,
that
St.
turned
Ambrose?
out. Yeah.
That's where Dirk went.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's where my son teaches.
That's where Lisa Bluter got her start. Okay, now we're back to the Hawkeyes.
Yeah.
How's that?
That's where I backed into her car.
And the women's schedule's out. The conference schedule.
Yeah,
they don't play their first conference game till December 30th.
It is weird. I mean, but they also don't play 20 conference games, do they? Or do the women play?
They play like 18 or 19.
I think it's 18.
Yeah.
I just think 20 is too much, but it's not that big of a deal. It is weird though playing a Big Ten opener 2 days after Thanksgiving. That's just strange. I mean, you used to wait for those Big Ten openers right around New Year's.
But by that time they had got a good bunch of games under their belt, and you kind of got a feeling of what they were going to do.
Traditions just don't withstand the power of TV and
power of money.
Money. It's all money.
Hello.
Hi.
Hello.
How are you doing today?
Great.
That's good. Happy birthday, Pat.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Wishing you many more years.
I'm wishing myself many more years, too.
Yeah, I hope you met your dad. He had a good long life.
My dad had a good haul, 91, almost 92.
That's excellent. But anyway, I was going to talk about the 3 Quad City running backs that you mentioned, Curtis,
right.
Roger, and Tavian. I saw all 3 play.
Okay.
Roger, Curtis's team was 73, and they won the state title, like you said, against Dowling.
And he was incredible.
And he went off. I think he had, like you said, 5 or 6 touchdowns in that game. And until Tim Dwight's team, it was probably the fastest overall team I'd ever seen.
Okay.
Because they had Chris Bryant was state high hurdles champ.
It's my ex-brother-in-law.
Bobby
Oh, did you hear that,
Steverson
caller? That's Jim Hunter's ex-brother-in-law, Chris Bryant.
Really?
Yeah.
Small world. Wow.
Yeah, but he was good. He played wide receiver, and he was a high hurdles champ.
Okay.
Bobby or something Steverson, I remember Tony, I guess it was defensive back, and he was state low hurdles champ. Roger or Curtis long jumped, and he ran on the sprint relays. I don't think he ran any individual events, but he was dang fast. He ran about a 9,700-yard dash.
Mm-hmm.
Then that Bobby Bostic, he was a 160-pound nose guard and pulling guard on offense. He was like 5'8" or 9", 160 pounds. He won the state 100-yard dash championship in 9.9.
Wow.
And he played offensive line. Wow.
Yeah, they were unbelievably fast. And Curtis was smaller. He was like 5'8" or 5'9", about 180 pounds.
Mm-hmm.
And was elusive, but, ran really hard. And then, like you said, went to Nebraska, and he was successor to Johnny Rogers.
Yes,
you're
right.
As wingback there at Nebraska. And he was good, but he didn't have the outstanding career like Roger did, somewhat better because he was at a place he saw the ball more as a running back. But like you said, he shared it with Mike Rozier, and then went on and had a great one. And then you look at Tavian. Tavian was faster than both of them. Roger was a hurdles guy. He ran high hurdles because he was a lot bigger than Curtis. Probably not as fast, but still not slow. But not. He wasn't like
remember how high he used to run with his knees? He used to use his knees to batter guys.
He was unbelievable.
Yeah.
And he was more powerful, and that's why I think he showed it in the NFL
as a fullback.
What speed he had, he used to a maximum, and he had those driving high knee action, and he really excelled. And plus, he had great hands.
Yes, he did. You're right, he did. He fit perfectly in that Montana offense.
Oh yeah, he was. I think 1,000 yards rushing and 1,000 yards receiving, if I'm not mistaken, in the same season.
Was he the first one to do that, maybe?
I think if he wasn't the first, he was one of the first because he was just unbelievably talented. And then you go to Tavian, and Tavian was probably closer to Curtis's size, height-wise and everything. But, my God, he was just unbelievably fast because we know how fast Tim was. And did you go to the City High Bettendorf game?
That was my first
senior year.
Yeah, that was my first year.
Out of City High.
That was my first year up here. Yes, I was there, and it's one of the best high. That game, along with Waterloo West, Kelly Ellis, and Jimmy Frazier against my brother's team at Dowling in 1976. Are the two best high school games I've ever seen. And that 76 game, that Dowling team went on to lose to Dave Hoeksema and Anthony Roberts, Davenport Central, in the state championship game up at the Unidome. But no, remember, Tavian had a kickoff return that was called back in that game, and he still had like 200 yards. He was incredible. Had Tavian not gotten hurt in the NFL, I think he would have been a really good Ronnie Harmon-type player in the NFL. I mean, Tavian was so skilled, and Tavian was a little bigger than you think. He wasn't 5'9". Tavian was 6 foot, a good 200 pounds by the time he finished Iowa.
Right, but well, like I say, Roger was 6'2" or 6'3".
Oh, 230. Yeah, he was huge.
Yeah, and was in high school. I think he played about 210 or 215. So I'm just thinking of when they were in high school, the size Tavian was. I think he was about 185 pounds, maybe at Bettendorf, and about 5'11", 6 foot tall. But he was so much faster than either of those guys. Because I remember that one play against City High.
He ran away from Tim Dwight.
It went past Tim, and Tim had the angle. And I thought, okay, Tim's going to get him. And he just ran past Tim, and it wasn't like Tim was standing still. He just out ran him to the angle there, and he was running to the.
Yeah, no, I remember exactly the play you're talking about. I've talked to Tim about that, and Tim has said to me before that Tavian was maybe a little faster than him. Tavian never ran track because he played soccer. Tavian never did anything in track. Had Tavian ran track, I'm guessing he would have been a long jump, 100-meter, 200-meter guy. He would have been similar to Tim Dwight. I mean, Tim Dwight was a great track guy, but you're right, though. I remember that play. I'm like, wow, Tim had the angle, and Tavian just ran right by him.
Yep. He was amazing because his soccer coach, Ben Pennington, was a classmate of mine at Central Junior High in 9th grade, and then he went to West and was a track man for Iowa after running for West High. He's the soccer coach at Bettendorf. So he told me Tavian, I think in middle school, long jumped 21 or 22 feet.
That doesn't surprise me.
In middle school track. So, if he was doing it then, God knows how far he would have gone as a high schooler.
No, you're right. He was an incredible athlete.
And I think he could have had some phenomenal times, that would have been as fast as Tim. Tim ran a 10-1 plus 100 meters that was electronically timed.
Tim said Tavian would have been a star in track. He said he would have been incredible. Yeah.
Oh, it would have been something.
But it's good discussion. Anyway. It makes for good discussion, though. And I've always been a huge fan of Curtis Craig. I don't know why, because he destroyed my alma mater, but he was the first kind of local. I wasn't old enough to remember Jerry Moses. I was barely old enough to remember Curtis Craig, and I just remember picking up the paper the day after that state championship game I'm like, wow, this guy just destroyed my. Look at this guy, and I just have always had kind of this soft spot for Curtis Craig. So yeah, that's why I asked Tom that, and I think they're going to discuss it on their podcast. It's good discussion, but especially for the people in the Quad Cities.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, definitely. I remember the game. I went to it with my dad.
Wasn't it at Kinnick Stadium?
It was something else because Central got out on front, and Dowling started to make a comeback, and every time Dowling would score, Curtis would answer.
Wasn't the game played at Kinnick?
It was just amazing.
Wasn't the game played at Kinnick Stadium?
Yes.
That's
the
what I
first two games were Kinnick. The 72 championship, Jeff beat Dowling for the title, and it was a defensive game. Jeff had one of the best defenses around.
Dowling couldn't run the ball. Remember, they had about 270 yards passing, but they couldn't score and they couldn't run the ball. Right,
exactly. They had to
Greg
pass
Gunderson.
Because Jeff's defense was tough. Then it was a more offensive game in 73, and then in 74, my cousin's team, Davenport West, beat Dowling, and they were a lot like West, like Jeff, Davenport West was, because they had a really strong defense. And my cousin played nose guard on that team.
Then I believe Heelan won it in
70.
I think Heelan won it in 75, but then Davenport Central won it again in 70. You remember Dave Hoeksema and Anthony Robertson and some guy, Richard Hazlett.
Yep. They had some really good teams after that. And then Dowling finally won it in there somewhere. But,
not until 2000.
Like the first 5 or 6 years in a row, they were the bridesmaid. And you just were like, oh, what?
Dowling didn't win a state title Dowling didn't win a state title until 2000. I mean, like my senior year, we went 11-1 and finished. We got to the semifinals, lost to Bettendorf, but no, Dowling did not win its first state title. I believe it was 2000 when they finally won it under Matt Dillon. Now they've won like 8 since then. I mean, they've won 5 in a row.
It's amazing.
It really is right now.
But no, there were some great teams. Jerry Moses, I did not see him personally, but I saw him on TV, where they televised the West Waterloo, East Waterloo game back then, because that was a big deal. And he was a big guy, but he was not as fast as Roger Craig. He was more that size, though, 6'2" or so, probably a couple 100 pounds. And went to Iowa State, but then he was dogged by injuries there, so he really didn't get to show it. But they were tremendously talented. I remember they had a guy, he was 6'5", 210-pound tight end, wide receiver.
That's big for now.
Won the state low hurdle title as a sophomore, and then he got in trouble with the law, and he ended up getting sent out to Pennsylvania to a residential treatment program. And I think he went to Penn State then, but I just can't remember his name right now. But I remember how big and fast that guy was. It was like, wow.
Wow. Well, we appreciate this look back. Appreciate your knowledge on this stuff because, like I said, there is no right or wrong in these types of discussions. It's just kind of interesting looking back on some great players. And I'll tell you, the Quad Cities has had some great football players.
There's
really
no doubt about it.
They really have.
Well, you guys take care.
Okay, thank you. Appreciate the call.
You're welcome.
All right.
Bye-bye.
All right. Man, this show's just blowing by.
Didn't know the
Kevin.
Banks family, but I know the Craig family. The nicest people you ever want to meet.
Really? That's
really
good to hear.
super.
They are
super
very,
great
very
folks.
nice.
Yeah,
very nice.
Good to hear.
I know those. I know them too.
Tavian had a brother named Levance.
You want to talk about your former brother-in-law?
When I met him, he was going to Iowa State.
Ah.
So we don't want to talk about him.
Okay.
But he comes up and his sons went to Iowa, and his daughter's going to law school.
So he was married to
now.
your sister, obviously.
No, I was married to his sister.
Oh, you were married to his sister.
How did that work out?
Yeah, how'd that go?
Well, we have 4 beautiful daughters.
Yeah.
And good kids.
There you go.
Yeah.
In a little while.
Are we making somebody wait?
Hello.
Who was that last boy in my mouth? Jesus Christ. I thought he'd never shut up. Don't you hate it when a guy just calls in and goes on and on? And for Christ's sake, nobody cares about something that happened 40 or 50 years ago. He's bringing up 1974, for Christ's sake. Who cares? I tell you what, I can't stand people who just get on here and
hang on and hang on and hang on and talk and talk and talk. What is it with some of these guys? They try to act like they know more than anybody else. What is wrong with people? I mean, seriously, wasn't he just driving you crazy? Just talk and talk and talk. I thought he would never shut up. Jesus, who cares? Get a hobby, you dumbass. I mean, really. Is that all you got to do is call a goddamn radio show? Shut up.
Just so the previous caller knows, there was a little sarcasm.
Yeah,
it's nothing personal on you. You want to explain it, Captain, or do we even try?
This station is effed up. AllHawkeyes.com.
Thanks for the happy birthday wishes. Thanks for the callers, listeners. Everybody have a good, safe day.
1630 KCJJ on TuneIn and YouTube. Powered by the Iowa City Marketplace.
With a look at your forecast, I'm meteorologist Ashley O'Connor. Beautiful weather across the entire area today. We'll have plenty of sunshine with highs this afternoon in the upper 70s. Mainly clear skies this evening with low temps tonight falling to the low to mid 50s. Sunny and breezy tomorrow with highs around 80. Our next system rolls in late tomorrow, and that will bring widespread thunderstorms to the area tomorrow night. Staying unsettled on Friday with a chance for showers and storms. That's weather on the mighty 1630 KCJJ. Right now, it's 67.
When storm clouds threaten, head to SevereStudios.com, the premier storm chase and weather platform. Watch live tornado video, check interactive radar, and see when storms will reach your location. You can even connect with storm chasers live in the field. With forecasts you can trust right here on the mighty 1630 KCJJ, you'll be prepared for whatever the weather may bring. Morning and night, weekdays, or weekends. Get the latest severe weather information from Severe Studios. That's SevereStudios.com.
They